अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन राम 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 अयोध्यावासी पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन राम 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 पतित पावन पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन राम 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 पतित अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन राम राम अयोध्यावासी राम 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 अयोध्यावासी राम बोलो राम राम दशरथ नंदन राम 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 बोलो अयोध्यावासी राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 जय सिया राम बोलो राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 जय सिया राम 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 जय शिल प्रभुपाद की जय ताई गौरांगा की जय राधा विनोद जी की जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय थैंक यू वेरी मच हरे कृष्ण ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. Hare Krishna. So, welcome everybody to this very beautiful festival of Sri Ram Navami. Um, Lord Ramchandra's pastimes, his qualities, his characteristics, they are like the sun. And who can describe the sun? Who can see the sun directly? So, whatever I have been told to do the service. So it's a reflection of all the great souls. They are in touch with the sun, and by their mercy, whatever light I can gather in my patra, that's what I will try to share with all of you. So if we analyze today's day and age, right? Human beings have a certain tendency, and that tendency is to create mess. Right? Everybody agrees? Normally we create mess. So we eat and we create mess. We work, we create a mess. There is governance, there is so many departments, but most of the time it's just a mess, right? And the mess, humanity makes a mess to such a great extent that now they want to make a mess in other planets. So they want to go to the moon, they want to go to the Mars, and there is so much of ugra karma, as Srila Prabhupada would say, right? And if we analyze deeply, the whole reason is because we are not happy with what we have. Correct? Right from the micro level to the macro level, right from an individual level to a couple or a family or a neighborhood or a community or a nation. Nobody is happy. That is one thing. And the reason for that is because we try to find happiness outside of ourselves. So we are so bahirmukha, we tend to see so much outside that even the earth is not enough. So there is all these explorations, right? Going to the Mars, going to here and there, sending these satellites, studying the nature of the universe. So it's all because human beings intrinsically, as a whole, humanity, they are not happy. And why they are not happy? As Katha Upanishad explains, there are two birds sitting, right? One is enjoying the fruits of his activities. Mostly it is enjoying the pain of the fruits of the activities. And the other bird is sitting, thinking, okay, when will this person look at me? And then, I will give him all the happiness. So, because Krishna, the source of all happiness, is within our hearts, and we are actually seeing everywhere else but the heart, therefore, that vacuum within the heart of the living entity, it propels that living entity to create mess outside, right? So there is so much of talk of pollution, noise pollution, sound pollution, relationship pollution, so many things. But the whole pollution starts because in the ecology of our heart there is this contamination. What is that contamination? We are not looking towards the Lord. We are not giving our attention towards the Lord, right? And the way to access the Lord is explained by the acharyas. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasere Pujana Sakhijana Atmanivedana Govinda Dasa Abhilashare. So these 9 processes of devotional service, they teach, Shravan and Kirtan. Right? Shravan means Kirtan because Shravan teaches you to do Kirtan. So therefore Mahaprabhu said Kirtan is the most important out of these 9. And when a person, with a good sankalpa, not just, like that only. So of course, chanting the holy names and hearing Krishna Katha, even like that only, that is lot of, benefit, but it is not that much. So when a person with a focus and with a discipline decides that, okay, I'm going to chant, I'm going to hear, then that kind of activity, that kind of Shravan and Kirtan really gives access to the Lord. And then slowly, gradually, that vacuum in the heart of the living entity is filled, right? So, that is the power of Krishna Katha. It has the capacity to fulfill all the longings that we have, right? We all long for something, isn't it? As a student, we long for something. And if we analyze deeply, our list of desires is there is some external desire. I may want to, score. I may want to, get projects complete. I may want to, take care of the family. I may want to do this, that. But deep within, one has to really analyze what is our longing. And that longing, you will find that that longing is for companionship of the Lord. We are all missing that friendship. We are all missing that relationship where, there is no judgment. Krishna is not going to judge you, right? He accepts you as you are. So that connect, that deep connect, that's what the living entity is missing. And it is missing because you miss something because when you lose it, right? Otherwise, how will you miss? Correct? Anybody here misses going to the moon, being on the moon? Anybody? Nobody misses that because probably we are not there. So you miss that thing which you have already experienced. So therefore, this hearing is very important about the Lord. And you may believe it or not, hearing cannot be done. So if you want to hear about Lord Vishnu, you need the Vishnu Janas with you. We cannot just hear alone. Right? Parikshit Maharaj, when he was hearing, was he alone? No, he was not alone. Like everybody came. So that power of hearing in association is extrapolated. Right? The benefit is multifold times. So Kapil Dev in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25, he says, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkarna rasayana katha तज्जोशनादाश्व अपवर्ग वर्तमनि श्रद्धा रतिर भक्तिर अनुक्रमिष्यति. So Kapil Dev is explaining about rasayana. Rasa means pleasure. Prabhupada describes in Bhakti Rasamrit Sandhu. See, Bhakti Rasamrit. So we are all after rasa. Rasa means a kind of experience, a kind of mellow. Right? So ras ayana. So he is describing the rasayana for the ears and the heart. Rit karna. Because you receive the Lord by your ears in the beginning, always. You can't just, say, okay, I want to see. That is not possible. Even if you see, you cannot understand. So, the first experience of the Lord for the living entities in the material world is when he receives this ras ayana for the ears. Right? And what is that rasayana? It is katha. Rasayana katha. And when that rasayana enters in the form of katha, and when one is in touch with that rasayana for a long time, right? It's not that one time you hear and you will be like liberated. No. So when you are in long touch with that katha, then what happens is
Apavarga Vartamani. So you start on the path of liberation. So bondage means pavarga and liberation means apavarga. I'll not explain this pavarga and apavarga. So when one is liberated, then what happens is Shraddha happens. So we are told, right, that we should chant with faith, correct? And we should serve with faith. So why don't we have that faith? Because we are not liberated. There is the purity is lacking. We are still bound in that pavarga, right? So once a person starts getting liberated, to the extent the person is liberated, to that extent he will have Shraddha in the holy name of the Lord, in the pastimes of the Lord. So that person will do everything and anything to go and hear about the Lord. He'll get excited, right? Our condition is that we get excited, hearing about mundane topics, right? We get so excited, we get lost actually, in scrolling the shorts, scrolling the reels, right? We don't have usually a discipline we have a discipline of hearing, but we don't have a discipline for the other things. Other things are like, let it go on. But hearing about the Lord, okay, I have a fixed slot, morning. I have heard today's quota is done. So that happens because we are still not liberated and that Shraddha has not arisen. And what is the result of Shraddha? Kapil Dev says, attraction. Rati. Everybody wants to be attracted to Krishna, right? Once you see the Lord, if we actually see the Lord, then you will not like to see anything else. But we don't have that experience because we don't have that attraction. And that attraction is missing because we don't have Shraddha. Shraddha is missing because we are not liberated. We are not liberated because enough Rasayana has not gone in our ears and heart. And what is the result of Rati? Bhakti. That's when devotional service actually starts. We may say we are bhaktas, but bhakti is a very high stage. Okay. So it is extremely important to hear Krishna Katha in association of devotees from the lips of pure devotees in physical association as much as possible. Right? Due to the corona pandemic, more than the physical, the online association has become more important because it just gives so much of flexibility, right? You can do multitasking. You can get the benefit of hearing Krishna Katha also, and same time, you can complete your cooking, you can complete your breakfast, right? So many things. You can answer emails. I mean, so many things. So you can just be invisible on the Zoom call or whatever, and still appear to be there. So it's like giving attendance. Okay, I was here. Now where you were, nobody knows. So uh, Radhanath Maharaj says, you are where your mind is. So even right now when we are sitting here, we actually may not be here, right? So that Krishna Katha actually has to enter the ears, and if we are present, then it will enter the heart. Otherwise, it will not enter the heart. Otherwise, it will be like going into one ear and coming out of the other ear, right? So once we understand this, then we become serious. Now, if you think about it, Rasa and Ram start with the same word, right? The word Ra is so important. In Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the alphabet Ra comes the most, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And for those who attended Janva Sundari Mataji's Chakra session, I don't know. How many of you attended that? I was there. Okay. So she did an experiment. She asked everybody to keep their hand on the head and chant the holy name. And everybody's experience was when they chant the R, the vibration is the most. Right? So this word Ram, Lord Ram's name means the reservoir of all rasa, reservoir of all pleasure. That's the name of Ram. That's the meaning of the word Ram. Right? So when we do something with an understanding of the meaning, then the result is multifold. Correct? So it really then purifies the heart. So it's extremely important to be attentive while hearing the holy name, while chanting the holy name. Otherwise, we just miss a lot of sublime experience. Right? So I am from the northern part of India. Right? So there, salt is called Ramaras. So if you go to any temple or any bhandara, right, in North India, when they are serving salt, they will say Ramras, Ramras, Ramras. Now, as a child, I would wonder Ramras क्यों बोल रहे हैं? Why are they saying Ramras? Because if you think about it, if salt is not present, you cannot taste anything else, right? The taste will not come because salt releases the taste in everything. If there is less salt, you will not be able to get the taste. If there is more salt, you cannot enjoy. But the right amount of salt has to be there. So that balancing, right? Vidya and avidya, your material life, your spiritual life, it has to be a balance. And can you eat salt alone? Anybody can enjoy salt alone? Anybody has tried eating salt straight? Dameshwari, you just said yes. Okay. So I have tried eating salt without anything else, and it doesn't taste very good. Have you tried eating foodstuffs without the salt? Sometimes, people when they are sick, doctor advises don't take salt, just eat bland food. So I have tried that also. It doesn't work. So basically, Lord Ram is salt, and his devotees are all the other ingredients. Both have to be there to have a good experience. And if we think about it, in the association of devotees in our practical devotional service, the salt is in the background, right? Krishna is in the background, Lord Ram is in the background. What is in the forefront? The name, the devotees, the service, right? But in and of itself, these things will not really give a good taste if the Lord is not in the background. So one has to really understand how important the Lord is and also his devotees. And one has to be respectful for both. So today is Ram Navami. Like, what is the purpose of the Lord's incarnation? There are many, many purposes. Like Bhagavad Gita explains, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkutam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yoge yoge. Right? This is one of the purposes. Even Brahma Samhita talks about the purpose of the Lord's coming. Anand chinmaya rasatmataya manasu yah praninam pratifalan smaratam upetya लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयत्यजस्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his own pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. So, what this means is, see, Maya rules over us, like we are ruled by the material energy. But the Lord's pastimes, they rule over the Maya energy, right? Therefore, it is said, Leelai tena bhuvanani, bhuvanani jayati. Bhuvanani means this material world. But Lord's pastimes, they are triumphant over the illusion of this material world. So, when we take shelter of the pastimes of the Lord, of the Leela of the Lord, what happens? We will be victorious against the influence of the material energy. This is a very important concept to understand. In fact, a devotee has to digest this concept. If we want to triumph over the material world, then we have to take shelter of the Leelas of the Lord because they are triumphant over the material energy. Hmm? So, in the Vaikuntha planet, Lord's Lord Ram's Ayodhya, it is the gateway to Goloka. So when somebody wants to enter Golok Vrindavan Dham, they have to pass through Ayodhya because Ayodhya comes first over there. So after Lord Krishna, the most important personality in the life of a devotee is Lord Ram. That is his importance. And today we will talk something about Lord Ramchandra, what his life teaches. See, we have heard Ramayana from the childhood, correct? Anybody here who doesn't know Ramayana, who has not heard Ramayana from their childhood? Anybody here? You? Okay, now you are fortunate that you are hearing Lord Ram's pastimes. So most of us have heard about Lord Ram's pastimes. We have heard the, we have seen the serial of Ramanan Sagar, and then there are so many versions, of that serial. But nobody gets bored ever, right? Lord Ram's pastimes are so ever fresh. I mean, all of us can see these serials over and over again. That's the specific quality of attraction. You will never get bored. Okay. Now, the whole story of Ramayana, it revolves around Lord Ram's destroying Ravan. Correct? That was the whole purpose why the demigods created this whole, drama. Because they wanted, this Ravana to be vanquished. Now, what does Ravana represent? Anybody? What does Ravana represent? Huh? Lust. Yes. Lust. The power of lust. Ravana represents the power of lust. Is lust powerful? Very powerful. Right? Nobody is untouched with the power of lust. I'll tell a story to uh, elaborate and establish how powerful is lust. Because sometimes as devotees we feel, "Arey, lust, theek hai, I'm not much bothered about it." So one time Jaimini Rishi felt like that. I don't know what is lust, nothing. So Jaimini Rishi is a disciple of Vyasadeva. So he went to Vyasadeva and Vyasadeva was explaining, how powerful is lust and we have to be very careful. Jaimini Rishi said, that's okay. I mean, I'm not disturbed by, lusty things. So Vyasadeva said, okay, my dear son, very nice. And he just smiled. So, everybody knows Vyasadeva, they are all living in a jungle, in a forest, in the ashram. So it so happened, Vyasadeva once went out of the ashram for something. And after a few days, uh, the atmosphere changed. It was, very cloudy and cold and wind and everything. So Jaimini Rishi, he went to the forest to collect some wood because, you have to keep warm. The ashram has to, keep warm. So while collecting the wood, he saw a very beautiful girl in the forest. She was alone and she was looking like lost. So Jaimini Rishi said, okay, okay, this girl, the weather is so bad. So he said, are you lost or something? She said, yeah, I am lost. I came to collect wood, but I don't know where is the, pathway, and it's going to become night. So Jaimini Rishi said, don't worry. Our ashram, my guru's ashram is here close by. You come and stay the night. She said, okay, thank you very much. And so Jaimini Rishi took the girl and he said, okay, you please, stay in the ashram. I'll stay out of the ashram. Right? So she said, okay. And so Jaimini Rishi was resting outside and suddenly it started raining. And suddenly it became so cold that he just couldn't, survive outside. So he knocked. And this lady, opened the door and she had, this question mark. Okay, why are you knocking on the door? So he said, there is too much cold and rain outside. I cannot sleep outside. I need to come inside. But don't worry, I'll sleep in a different part of the kuti. So Gemini Rishi was resting and she was resting on the other side. There was a cover. And when Gemini Rishi was sleeping, all his past lives, sanskaras, they just came up. His all his, experiences of, enjoyment and this and that, his struggle. And he became so disturbed. And he got that desire to, go and touch. So he went and he laid next to that lady. And he put his arm on her face. And as soon as he touched the face, he felt the beard of somebody. And and when he saw it was Vyasdev. So Vyasdev smiled. He said, now do you know the power of lust? He said, yes. So this story is, described to basically tell us how powerful this Ravana is. Right? And the entire pastime of Lord Ram is about the triumph over Ravana. Right? Only Lord Ram has that arrow which can kill Ravana. Right? So now we'll see from the pastimes of Ramayana. Now, could Ravana be killed if Lord Ram didn't enter Dandakaranya forest? Was it possible? Like we are talking about the pastime, right? So, Valmiki Muni, when he presents Lord Ram in Ramayana, he presents Lord Ram as a human being. As a human being, of course, he honors his divinity, but the focus is on the humanity, right? So, from that perspective, if Lord Ram did not leave Ayodhya and entered in the forest, he would have not killed Ravana. He would have been a prince, and everything was good. Ravana was doing his nonsense, and Lord Ram is here, no problem. So everybody is okay. But it took Lord Ram to leave his comfort zone, right, and go into the forest. So when the Lord, see, our lives is like Dandakaranya, right? It's a vana, and it's a nirjan one. There is no emotion, there is no feeling for the Lord. Srila Prabhupada describes, the modern human beings as the walking dead, right? Walking dead. And now there are so many movies, right? Zombies, zombie land, and this and that. So those people are like the walking dead. They are dead, but they are walking. So Lord Ram entering Dandakaranya forest, meeting all the sages, meeting all the devotees, and enlivening them, right? It represents that we, as living beings, we have to let the Lord enter our hearts. Right? When the Lord enters our heart, then only our dryness, our moroseness will actually go away. Otherwise, we may be devotees, we may be chanting for so many years, but the Lord is still, behind the door with a kundi attached because we are not opening it. We are not feelingly inviting the Lord. So still, the struggles continue. For, decades, same struggles continue. But those devotees who really, take shelter, who really invite the Lord, then Lord Ram comes. Right? So, I was telling that Valmiki Muni focused on the humanity aspect. And Tulsidas ji, in Ramcharitmanas, he describes the Lord as Raja Ram. Right? The all powerful Supreme Person, the Lord of everybody. Right? And then, what can we learn from Lord Ram's departure from his home? We'll not go into the details of the pastimes, everybody knows. Of course, Ramayana says that we should hear Ram Katha for 9 days to get the full benefit. So someday, we can have Ram Katha like that, culminating in Ram Navami. We start on the Pratipat and we culminate on Ram Navami. Someday we should have that. So that is the most beneficial. But if we see Lord Ramchandra, he left his comfort, the Raja Sukh, right? And he actually was living in the forest. So living in the forest and living in the city, your needs of food, clothing, and shelter, they remain the same, right? But when you're in the forest, your food, clothing, and shelter, the quality changes drastically than what you have in the city life. Correct? What do you think? Which quality is better? The forest quality is better, na? Right? Staying in a hut, in a parnakuti, eating only roots and fruits and leaves, and for clothing, they were wearing like deer skin or tree bark or something. Now we cannot, I don't know whether when we go to the forest we can wear leaves and everything, but the other part, staying in a hut made up of straw, I don't know how many of you have experienced staying in such huts. I have experienced. Who is that? Oh, there is one hut here. Okay. So, but living naturally, right? Living naturally is a great catalyst for churning our heart and bringing out the Krishna consciousness outside. When we live in the city, the influence of the material energy is so much that our even the human consciousness goes away. We become very inhuman, right? And I experience so many times when I drive on the roads of Bangalore. Like people are so sometimes insensitive. They'll drive on the wrong way. They'll just come in between. So it is their inhumanity, and then we also become inhuman. We have like we start swearing in the mind. Oh, what nonsense, what is it doing? So city life is like that. So Lord Ramchandra is actually teaching us that one should spend some time away from the city, in nature, right? Living naturally, because that has a huge impact on our consciousness, right? And believe me or not, the future of people in India is really secure if they live in villages. Preach in the city, but live in the village, right? Grow your own food, have your own cows. That was Prabhupada's idea, revolutionary. One cow and 1 acre of land. It can solve all economic problem. And for those who know why India is so powerful and respected, because the control of over food of India is very good. They have really protected, you know, the food aspect nicely. The governance has made sure that there is enough food for the people in the country, and they are also supplying to other countries. They are supplying wheat to Afghanistan. They are giving help here and there. So they are now they are basically they have received a favor, so they need to give back the favor. right? So Afghanis are, they were giving back favor by taking care of all the terrorists. So food, having control of your own food is very important, right? So forest life, natural. What did Lord Ram do when he went to the forest? He was not just living in his hut. He went to Gautam Rishi's ashram. He went to Bharadwaj Rishi's ashram. He went to Agast Rishi's ashram. So many rishis they met. And what did they do? They discussed about life. They discussed about the Lord, his pastimes, how to be happy, right? And while discussing, they would have had nice prasadam. They would have had nice kirtan, and they would have just nicely slept under the stars, the moon. Very natural life. In our lives, we don't meet people much, right? We have the own same set of people that we usually meet, which is not bad, but we have to actually go also outside our circle and connect. One of the qualities of Lord Ram that is described in Ramayana is whenever Lord Ram would meet a stranger, he would introduce himself first. He would strike a conversation first and make things comfortable. Like so many times, I travel in train, in plane. People don't talk. Nobody talks. They are just into their gadgets, into their Ramayana, so deeply absorbed, or Mahabharat, whatever it is. They have lost that connection. Previously, when people would travel, most of it was gossip, but at least there was a connect. They were connecting with each other. Now they are gossiping on the mobile. So something even very mundane, they are not doing it properly. They are actually going into that two-dimensional notepad or something. So meeting different people, right? Lord Ram actually exemplified that. And then traveling is a great teacher. For those who have traveled, you can learn so many life skills just by traveling. If you see all the acharyas, they were travelers. You may say Goswamis actually were, just living in Vrindavan. Yes, they were living in Vrindavan, but they were traveling. They were not staying under one tree for a night. They were changing their place. So, because when you are in motion, you don't become stagnant. And when you don't become stagnant, you don't get spoiled. Anything that is stagnant, actually, it becomes, over a period of time, contaminated. So, flow has to be there. In life, there has to be a flow. So, Lord Ram, traveled and he went outside his comfort zone. See, if he was, there was a reason why Dasharath Maharaj didn't invite Maharaj Janak and KK's brother, KK Raj, to the coronation of Lord Ram. He forgot to invite them. It's not that he didn't want to invite. The demigods made him forget to invite Janak Maharaj. Now, can you imagine? Sita Maharani is going to be the Patrani. How can Janak Maharaj forget inviting Janak? Sorry, Dashrath Maharaj. Because the demigods knew if these two people are present, Lord Ram will get coronated. Because Janak and Kekaya would take care of his sister, Kekaya. What nonsense you are doing, And Janak would take care of everything else. They would never allow Lord Ram to go. So the whole program was designed in such a way that Lord Ram could leave. And there is also great reason why, Lord Ram, Sita, Lakshman were in the forest. Because once what happened was in the ocean of milk, Lakshmi ji and the Lord is, on the Seshashai, right? Ananta Sesh. So on the ocean of milk, there are only three entities. Lakshmi ji, Lord Vishnu and Ananta Sesh. Only these three are there. And Lakshmi ji was looking very dejected. She is normally very happy, you know. So Lord Vishnu asked, my dear, why are you looking so dejected today? So she said, I don't get any personal time with you. I mean, a lot of wives have that complaint, right? I don't get your time. Lord Vishnu said, come on, only we two are here. Who else is there? So Sita Maharani looked up. So Lord, oh, Ananta Shesh is watching and he doesn't have one head. He has many heads. So Lord Vishnu said, okay, we'll come together in the Rama avatar and we'll go in the forest for 14 years. Nobody else. So Lakshman will be there, but he will be outside the kutia. So Lakshmanji never stayed under a shelter. He just built the kutia for Lord Ram and they would stay. So that is one of the reasons why, I mean, amongst the multiple reasons, this is also one of the reasons. Now let's focus. So it's almost 11. So there are two distinct, actually, there are three big cities described in the Ramayana: Ayodhya, Kishkinda, and Lanka. Okay. So we'll analyze the culture of Ayodhya and Lanka. Kishkinda I have not included. It's going to become very big. What is the quality of Ayodhya? In Ayodhya, everyone is trying to please the other person. Everyone is trying to understand the other person, right? Dashrath is trying to understand KK's point of view. KK is trying to understand Mantra's point of view. Lord Ramchandra is trying to understand everybody's point of view. And so everybody is thinking about, okay, what other person wants and what will make them happy. What is Lanka's culture? Right? Everyone is trying to impress each other. How great I am. Like when Hanumanji, attacked the Ashok forest and the news came to Ravana's, darbar. All the ministers heard. They all were shouting, "Oh, I'll go and kill. I am powerful. I can do this." Right? Everybody was actually trying to impress Ravan and come in his good books. Right? Everybody was trying to please the leader because everybody had an agenda to fulfill. They were not really thinking about the welfare of each other. So we should ask what culture I want to have. Because Ayodhya and Lanka are present in our heart only. Right? That is the benediction of Kali Yuga. You can get everything with you. Package deal. Now you have to choose. What do I want? I want Ayodhya or Lanka. In Ayodhya, everybody respects each other. So it is described, however intimate your relationship may be, one cannot cross the Lakshman Rekha of respect. So if somebody thinks, oh, I am the father of my kids, it's a very intimate relationship, right? If the mother thinks, I am the mother, father thinks, I am the father, so I have the right to disrespect. No, you don't have that right. If the husband and wife think, okay, I can cross this Lakshman Rekha, right? I can deal the way I like. No, because you will be forgiven for few times, not forever. So forgiveness is a very important principle, but a conditioned soul cannot exercise it forever. Only liberated souls can forgive forever. Right? Srila Prabhupada, one time devotees came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, this devotee so and so, he is causing this problem. So Prabhupada said, no problem, just forgive him. So next time Prabhupada came to the same place, this person came, Prabhupada, he is still doing the same thing. Prabhupada said, okay, forgive. So this person really became, he was not liking it. He said, how many times you have to forgive? Prabhupada said, eternally. So, see, we cannot exercise that, but we should know what is the goal. Because Krishna forgives eternally. And those who are Krishna Jan or Vishnu Jan, means the pure devotees, they can do that. But the thing is, respect. Culture of respect has to be maintained. What was Lanka's culture? Lanka's culture was disrespect. Ravan never listened to Mandodari, although she was his best well wisher. Ravan never respected Vibhishan. His advice he never agreed to. What was Ravana's whole this thing? Just glorify me. If you glorify me, I'll reward you. Correct? So, no respect. Ravana insulted Vibhishan. Now, who is Vibhishan? Vibhishan is his brother. Indrajit insulted Vibhishan. Did Ravana stop Indrajit? No. He let his son, who is younger than his brother, insult his brother, who was elder to Indrajit. Why? No respect. Culture of respect was lacking. So, therefore, one has to be extremely careful. In a devotee society, see, everywhere there is a hierarchy, right? Especially when you come into an organization, there is a hierarchy. There will be, somebody who is on the upper ladder, upper step of the ladder, somebody on the lower step of the ladder. And you will always see faults of others. But that seeing of fault doesn't give you any right to disrespect anybody. Right? There has to be always a conversation. There is a way of bringing in correction. You cannot take it on yourself. If you are on the first step, you cannot correct the 10th step. Right? The 11th step can correct the 10th step. So one has to be very mindful of this. In fact, if you read in the Valmiki Ramayana, in the beginning of Ramayana, when Narad Muni is describing the positive effect of hearing Ramayana, he describes three pastimes. And in one of the pastimes, he describes about a Brahmana who was a very great disciple of Gautam Rishi. And he just happened to neglect the presence of Gautam Rishi. Just like, Indradumna. And then, he was cursed to become Gajendra. So this Brahmana, Gautam Rishi was very happy. Oh, my disciple is so nice. He's focusing. His focus is so great. My disciple was worshipping Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva became offended. How can he disrespect, Gautam? So Lord Shiva cursed that Brahmana, that you become Rakshasa. He said, so it's, see how subtle it is. Even a neglect can become a disrespect in some manner. So anyways, then Gautam Rishi said, don't worry. If you hear Ramayana regularly, even in Rakshas Yoni, your curse will be limited to 12 years and you will be liberated. So same thing happens. Third point. In Ayodhya, there is no disrespect for opposing views. Everybody respects what you want to say. Nobody disrespects. So much so, even Mantra was allowed to speak. Isn't it true? Even a maid servant's logic and argument was upheld. And things happened because of her. That is how the culture of Ayodhya is. Very free. Everybody can speak. But Mantra just went too much overboard. She should have been punished. But of course, it was an arrangement. What is Lanka's culture? No respect for others' opinion. As long as you say yes to me, you are good. As soon as you say, okay, I don't agree to you, you will be kicked out. And this is what happened to Vibhishan. Because Vibhishan was constantly reminding Ravana, okay, Ravana, you are wrong. Please return Sita. You are actually having fire in your hand and you are thinking, you will be living peacefully. She will burn everything. But Ravana was like completely hell-bent. And all the ministers of Ravana, including his sons, they were the yes man. Yes, boss. You are right. The boss is always right. Vibhishan was the only person and Mandodari who were telling Ravana the truth. But unfortunately, because Ravana had no culture of respecting others' viewpoint, he was doomed. Okay. Fourth point, Ayodhya's culture is everyone above me, and Lanka's culture is I above everyone. Correct? So if you see Ravan, he was ready to sacrifice Marich because he wanted Sita. Right? Marich warned him that I have already faced Ravana, Ram, and I know the power of his arrows. Okay, you are happy and you have so many beautiful women. Just chill. Don't even think of Ram because if you think, you will be destroyed. But Ravana was hellbent because he was influenced by the wrong sound vibration of Surpanka. He opened his heart to Shurpanka's envy and he got influenced. And if you see Ayodhya, right, Jatayu did not even care before sacrificing his life for Sita. He did not consider what is going to happen to him. So that is the culture, that we have to imbibe in our lives. Having Ayodhya over Lanka. Now we'll just end. See, if we study Ramayana, if you compare Ramayana, it's like a thick nectar, liquid. It's all about love. Everybody is trying to love each other, right? Everybody is trying to serve each other. Everybody is trying to go through pain for the other person. Everybody is trying to tolerate, correct? So much of tolerance. Kaushalya tolerated so much. You know, Sumitra tolerated so much. Lakshman's wife, Urmila, she tolerated so much. Everybody was tolerating. Why? So that others can do their service, so that others are happy. Right? In our lives, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the golden verse that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says? Loudly. Tarorapi Shavishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sada. Okay. So Lord Chaitanya says one to be humble, more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. Now, between humility and tolerance, you can quantify tolerance, but you can't quantify humility. And you can't even measure humility, but you can measure tolerance. It's very easy. Measuring tolerance is very easy. And therefore, Prabhupada says one who can tolerate, you know, what is that? Provoking situations. That person is great. Because tolerance is something very tangible, right? If all these fans are off, we'll have to tolerate the heat of this room. Right? It's an experience that is easily relatable. But humility is not very easily relatable. Right? If somebody is offering obeisances, you may think he is humble, but actually he may not be humble. He may be praying that you fall down. Yeah, it is possible. But tolerance cannot be faked. If it is hot and you have to sit, it is hot and you have to sit. It's not that internally you are feeling cool. You are feeling hot. So somebody blasphemes you, somebody talks ill about you. It's not that internally you are feeling flow of Ganga and Jamuna, the smoothing the soothing waters. No, you are listening and you are experiencing that pain, but you are not acting on it. So you are tolerating. So this aspect of tolerance is really signified in Ramayana. And now the question is, when there is two parties, who has to tolerate? Should I tolerate always? That's a question, right? मुझे ही करना है क्या हमेशा tolerate? So So the answer is, one who is more mature, he has to tolerate. So now you have to choose whether you are more mature. And the reality is, a person becomes mature when he or she receives love. So if you have received more love, you will be more mature and you will have to tolerate more. So if you have been loved more, you will have to tolerate more. Therefore, there is a saying, na, one who receives more, from him there is more expectation. So if somebody has received more love, more care, more attention, then there is expectation from them. भैया काम करना पड़ेगा अभी, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी उठानी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि मिला है ना. So that's the whole crux of Ramayana. There is love, and because of that love, you have to tolerate. Right? So if you see intolerable situations, you understand love is the missing piece somewhere. And then uh, I was just thinking now, in the scriptures, calculated speculation is allowed. So this is speculation that I am doing. Nobody has told me this. Okay. So I was just thinking, Ravana was not loved probably. He never received love. Correct? So if you hear about the birth of Ravana, so as soon as Ravana and Kumbhakarna were born, they grew big in size and they immediately went to perform tapasya. So बचपन देखा ही नहीं उन्होंने. They never. Extreme tapasya they were doing. To the point that Ravana was, offering his heads. Like person who is just born, he's grown up, and now he's, tasked to, become the most powerful person. So he never experienced love of his mother. His father was not at home. Rishi Vishrava was living in the jungle, and mother was a demoness, Kekasi. So she just filled him with, all her personal opinions, personal ambitions. So see how much damage Ravana received. Father who was very good, who was not at home. Mother put all her ambition into Ravan. Why? Because she was envious of Kuver. Kuver is so nice, so great. He is one of the demigods. And my son, he's like a, Rakshasa is a considered, lower species. So her ambition was that my son should be the greatest. So poor Ravana was sacrificed. And because he didn't receive love, he couldn't tolerate. He just couldn't tolerate anything. Any opposition, it has to be, removed. Any challenge, that person has to be removed. So it's a great lesson actually. Now this is speculation. Huh? Nobody told me this. I am just, putting everything together and presenting this. But Lord Ram, if you see, Lord Ram and all the four brothers, they received a lot of love. Mother Sita received a lot of love. Right? And you will see the children who receive a lot of love and care, they become very mature people. Rather than children who are, just neglected, who are, right, parents when they make agenda out of their children, right? Such children, they are lost. They can't grow much. So we as devotees also, we should be very careful when, we raise children. Prabhupada says children are the deity for the parents, not the deity in the temple. So if you are coming to worship Radha, Vinod, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra and Gaur Nitai at the expense of your children, you are doing a big disservice. Nobody is happy. Children are not happy, deities are also not happy, and Prabhupada is also not happy. Right? So it is an extremely important aspect which you can learn from Ramayana. Taking care of the children when they are small, giving them love, giving them a peaceful, happy environment. Ayodhya was a very happy place.
Huh?
Janakpuri was a very happy place.
ఏం
So
దీపు
these people, Sita,
టూర్కి
Ram,
రిజర్వ్
Lakshman, Hanuman,
చేస్తున్నాను
Bharat, Shatrugna, they became such great
కొంచెం వేస్తున్నాను
personalities that
బెల్లము
even now we are discussing about them, right? We are discussing about their good qualities. And the Lankavasis, they are famous because they didn't receive love. They are famous in the wrong sense. So we need to make a choice at every point whether I want to be a Ayodhya Vasi or whether I want to be a Lanka Vasi, right? Hare Krishna. Siyavar Ramachandra ki jai. Pavan Putra Hanuman ki jai. One last thing I wanted to mention since we have some time. So, how to make a good home, right? Lanka was home to the demons. Ayodhya was home to, all the Ayodhya Vasis. Now, one of the very important characteristics of a home is, see, Lord Ramchandra says, Janani Janma Bhumischa Swargadapi Garishyasi. That my motherland, my homeland is glorious, right? Why the homeland is considered glorious? Because when a traveler goes everywhere around in the world, once you are tired, you come home and you take rest at home, right? So when you come at home, a person can be who they are. I want to relax. Enough. You can be yourself, right? Outside, you have to you have to wear a tie or a suit and everything. But at home, you can be in your vesty, right? Relax, chill. At home, we should accept people with their imperfections. Okay, ठीक है. You have something lacking, no problem. We are family, and you are at home. You don't have to show. So in home, there should not be any show off. Oh, I am trying to be something that I am not. Hmm? People in the home should be relaxed, and they should not live in fear. क्या रे अब क्या होगा? Right? Oh, I didn't do this right. Now I'll be chastised. No, home has to be more love based, more appreciation, less fault finding. That is the characteristic of home, right? Less correction, more appreciation. And in the home, the atmosphere has to be happiness, light-heartedness, and laughter, right? It cannot become a very serious, corporate environment in the home. Otherwise, you will not experience happiness. Hare Krishna. So these are, few lessons from the Ramayana, from the pastimes of the Lord. We discussed about the importance of hearing in association, right? We discussed about rasa. We discussed about Rama rasa, correct? We discussed about how human beings, because of the vacuum in the heart, they create mess everywhere. And what is the ultimate solution? Is to basically fill the gap, fill the vacuum. And that vacuum can be filled by Ram Katha, Krishna Katha. And then we heard about the purpose of the incarnation of the Lord. It is to triumph over the material illusion. And then we basically, discussed why Lord Ramchandra came. It was to because, destroy Ravana, the embodiment of lust. And then we discussed about the how powerful lust is to the pastime of Vyasdev and Jaimini. And then we discussed some important lessons from the pastimes of the Lord. We discussed about Lord entering Dandakaranya. We discussed about Lord leaving his comfort zone. We discussed about living naturally, right? Meeting different people, traveling and learning. And then we discussed about the qualities of Ayodhya and Lanka. Hmm? And then we ended with who has to tolerate. That tolerance is the criteria that we can actually apply to ourselves to understand how we are advancing in our Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. श्री हनुमान जी की जय. भरत शत्रुघ्न की जय. हरे कृष्णा. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. So we have 10 minutes. Question or Kirtan? One question. So four people have raised their arms. So whoever he saw got the mic. So
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you ask, your voice is loud.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandas Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you for a very nice class. You mentioned earlier in the class that we are not inviting Ram. So how do we really invite Ram?
Oh, so the question is how to invite Lord Ramchandra in our
Really invite.
Huh. Yeah. Really invite. Yes. You can read the first part of Ramayana. That answer is there. Question is answered there. Or you want to hear from me? Okay. So in the preface of Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, how Ramayana has to be recited or heard, it is described. So we can apply the same principle. So how to hear the holy name and how to chant the holy name. We can apply that principle here. See, in our lives, the most important aspect in devotional service is chanting. That's the most important aspect in a sadhaka's life. So when we chant, typically we are not conscious that I am going to chant. We do it in a very mechanical way. Alarm went up at 5. I came out at 5:30 from the bathroom. I sat. I chanted my, pranati mantra and I started chanting. So that is one way of doing it. Other way of doing it is being conscious. Okay, now I am going to chant. So before chanting, one should take a sankalpa. So when you take a sankalp, you cannot be careless when you take a vow. There is a spirit, there is an energy when we take a vow of doing something. So, because that energy is the mind comes wherever it is, because it's serious, na? So, Ramayana says that one has to, pray to Lord Ram. That, my dear Ram, I am reciting this for your pleasure. So, you please help me fulfill this. So, you can chant like that. When you sit to chant the holy name, take that sankalpa. That now I am sitting and I will focus on the holy name. I will, bring back my mind. And Krishna, I am doing for your pleasure. When we do that, gradually you will start doing it properly. Otherwise, it's very mechanical. Okay? Hare Krishna. Prabhuji. Then we'll come to who did not hear about Lord Ram in.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for very nice class, Prabhu. You described about tolerance and humility. Tolerance is something that we can experience, and we develop
Measure.
the quality of
Measure.
tolerance. What is the relationship between tolerance and humility, Prabhu? As we uh, uh, tolerate more and more, the humility develops, or how to understand that, Prabhu?
So, I think when you are humble, you are open to tolerate things. And as you become more tolerant, your humility is also increases. So that's the relationship I can see in these two. They are also, very different qualities, but everything is also linked to each other. One quality enforces the other. So everything gives life to other thing. So wherever we can start, we should start. But typically we start with tolerance. Because in the material world, situations, things, people, they actually, demand our tolerance. So once we have to start from there. Does it? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Please accept my
Krishna.
obeisances.
Please accept mine.
Prabhuji, you mentioned humility and tolerance, right? So in Kali Yuga, there is a very fine line between tolerating and being humble. For example, if I just keep tolerating, I'll become a doormat,
Hmm.
right? And humility is a quality that obviously boundary setting will be necessary. So how does one do that, considering that obviously it will be exploited?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice question. It's a very practical question. So Bhaktitirth Maharaj answers this question that see, humility doesn't mean that you allow people to trample upon you, right? So the exercising of humility. So see, there is one humility is you are very respectful to devotees. You are always very caring for others. You think not much about yourself, but you think more about others, right? So when you have like-minded people, but when you are in a situation where people don't understand your qualities, then you can't be practicing that because then you will be destroyed. So, like Pandavas could not exercise that, always humility and being tolerant. They did that for some time, but beyond the thing, when it actually, becomes disrespect, then you have to take an action. So today I heard a very nice quote. Giving suffering to others for the sake of making them suffer is the essence of evil. So we have to think from that perspective. That the opposite party, is he giving trouble to me deliberately or indeliberately? Sometimes people trouble you not because they want to. It's because just the way they are. Like so I have my cousin sister. Even her normal voice seems like she's shouting, and I have to tell her, please, you. I told her once, you whisper. When you talk to me, you please whisper so that I don't get disturbed by your shouting. So she cannot do that. But is she really wanting to trouble me? No. It is something that she can't just control. But if sometime, let's say, you sit in chanting and some devotee know that, if I chant loudly, this guy will get disturbed. And purposefully he chants loudly. Right? Then what do you say?
Prabhuji, in that
Then,
situation, what should be the course of action? Considering I cannot control the environment always, I can
yeah, yeah.
control people.
So, yeah. So we'll take the example of chanting and then you can apply it, use your good intelligence. So let's say you are chanting and somebody is chanting very loudly, right? So you have three options. First, you also chant loudly. That is the first option. Why? Because you want to chant in association. See, your solution has to follow a pattern. The pattern is you cannot break unity. You cannot break association. Second is you cannot become disrespectful. Right? Third is you can't lose yourself. So it has to follow this. So first step is you chant loudly. If you can't do that, you go to that devotee and in a very humble manner request, Prabhu, can you chant softly? Because I am not able to focus. So right, humility का exercise हो गया उधर. You know, to basically ask something from somebody is an act of humility. So if he agrees, good. If he doesn't agree, then you have an option to continue tolerating or you go into the other room and chant. So that's the process you have to follow. And you can do this in anything, any relationship you can do. First, try to match up with the expectation. If you cannot, request, please reduce. If you can't do that, then go out. You know, remove yourself. That's the way you should do. Is it?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, time's up. Hari bol. Siyavar Ramchandra ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So let us all thank Prabhuji from the and express our deep gratitude from the bottom of our heart because of the wonderful insights and perspective to look at Ramayana. So let us all once chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. I'll request all of you to please go downstairs. And I just saw the hall, it is almost getting full. So please occupy the seats because we have a wonderful program lined up. So please, continue downstairs. Hare Krishna.